What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader. GTA 5 is hugely popular after nearly 7 years. The online mode is still booming and single player modding is more fun than ever. GTA 5 is still fresh for me, especially the single player with all the modding, but there's one question we're all wondering still. When is GTA 6 coming out? And what about all the other questions like, where is GTA 6 set? There are so many different questions that have gone unanswered and there's endless speculation. I'm going to be covering all of the most popular GTA 5 and GTA 6 rumours circulating right now about the next GTA game, GTA 6. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So firstly, when can we expect GTA 6 to be released? There are so many different conflicting statements and so-called leaks, many that have to be taken with a grain of salt. Last year, many were speculating that it would drop in summer 2020, but now that's looking highly unlikely. This is especially apparent because Cole Slatoff, who is the president of Take-Two, foretold that 93 game releases in the next 5 years from 2021 and after will be coming, meaning that GTA won't be dropping this year. Some Hawkeye fans did find out that Take-Two Interactive, who are behind GTA, committed a future budget for their marketing in the years 2023 to 2024 of up to $89 million allegedly. This is a lot of money to put into advertising campaigns, and obviously this will match the amount of games which they told about before, but it's still a lot of money. And many were speculating whether this meant that the planned future release date for GTA 6 was going to be somewhere between 2023 and 2024 in this range for the advertising campaign. This is a lot of money to spend during a 12-month period on advertising, although it could be for multiple games as previously stated and just generally for the whole company, although a huge blockbuster game like GTA 6 could definitely be the reason. Unfortunately though, Take-Two did deny these speculations that it was linked to GTA 6 in any form, although it doesn't mean that it won't be dropping somewhere in this time frame. A lot of information claims that GTA 6 is only in the first stages of its development and it may take anywhere from 3 to 4 years to release from this point on, so it does make sense in the time frame. However, some claim it's in the early stages of testing, not development. Personally, I think it's in the early stages of development and that we won't see it for a few more years at least. GTA 5 is still likely a cash cow and it's making a whole lot of money, and it's also seeing a lot of updates and promotions like it being free on the Epic Games launcher recently, so it still has some life in it before we move on to a new game. So let's jump into the setting, aka the location of the game and its characters. I'll be going over some of the leaks and talking about each one. The problem about leaks is a lot of them could be from fans' imaginations or bogus or made up, whereas some could also genuinely have some merit and be real. However, look over them with a grain of salt like I said before and don't get too excited over any of them. So the first rumour, which was reported by The Sun, is allegedly from a former employee with insider knowledge on the game. The person claimed that the new game will greatly mirror that of the old map and setting of the 2004 game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and apparently we should expect 3 major cities and 1 smaller town, probably referring to San Fierro, the San Francisco location in GTA, Las Venturas, which is basically GTA's Vegas, and also possibly Los Santos again that we also saw in GTA 5. But the other smaller town that it mentions is down to speculation because I can't really think about what this could be. They claim the new map will be larger than both the GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption maps both combined, which is saying something because they're pretty big. It's quite far-fetched that we could see a GTA that is as big as San Andreas was, but on the new tech and hardware. Back then it was a huge surprise that they could have so many cities and stuff on the map, but with the modern graphics being so good, it's hard to say if this is a possibility still, although it probably is. Apparently we will follow 4 different characters throughout the main story, just like we did in GTA 5 with the 3 main characters. These 4 characters are Walter Wallace, which is a driver who I'm sure the leaker probably just made up on the spot after watching some Breaking Bad, Thomas Brannigan, who's a plane smuggler who flies a plane called the Raven, and a dealer called Marcus Burke, with the 4th character being mostly unknown, although it's claimed it's some kind of foreign agent. Now this theory or rumour also says that the melee and gun combat will be more closely based off Red Dead Redemption 2 style, and that the missions in the game won't be as linear or restrictive as the other games. Allegedly, it's going to be set in the 1980s, although it will skip time throughout the story to the modern day, perhaps showing the past of the characters to thicken out the story and plot a little. In this leak, the story will have a style similar to that of the Netflix show Narcos, which is where the smuggler comes in. This is an interesting leak, and I would definitely be interested in this being the final game. Although I'm more of a fan of playing one character like CJ in San Andreas or Nico Bellic in GTA 4 instead of just playing 3 different characters like we do in GTA 5. GTA San Andreas is my favourite GTA game of all time, so when I saw GTA 5 was cutting out the favourite cities of mine out of the map, I was pretty disappointed, because the GTA San Andreas map is far more superior in my personal opinion. Let's just say I'd be entirely okay with dropping back into Los Santos again if it meant the other cities and the map comebacks too on top of it. A second rumour is very similar to the first one, with it being labelled Project Americas, coming from Reddit. It's set in Vice City and the Rio de Janeiro-like place, with some of the missions spanning to Liberty City. However, this version says you play as only one character, a male, and that it's set between the 70s to 80s, where you play as someone called Ricardo, an upcoming player in the game and the story, along with some other character called Casey, who I'm not sure what he does or how he comes into play in the game. You'll be doing smuggling runs all the way from Vice City to South America through big connections, spanning multiple cities, and it even claims there's a huge prison which will be part of the experience. The game is said to follow a chapter-like system which is similar to how Red Dead Redemption does, and it has a focus upon the natural weather like hurricanes or floods. As the eras change in the story, buildings and vehicles do to match the style, and the prices switch up with the economy system. This project, Rumours, seems to have a heavy inspiration from Narcos again, just like the one did that I covered before, both mirroring each other with many different similarities, and will have an amazing soundtrack to this one. So both of these rumours are very similar. Allegedly, a younger Martin Madrazo from GTA 5 will also come back, but with his father this time, who is basically a big figure in the underworld, and some of the missions are given out from them as you build an empire just like you do in the PSP game Vice City Stories, even going far as to claim it's just like the GTA Online system in GTA 5 but 10 times as good. Weapons will only be carried on your person and not in your back pocket. This is for realism, and the vehicles that you own will now have more purpose, with you using them to transport weapons in the trunk, and them being your personal armory where you can put armor and other gear in there too. Because of foreign languages coming into play, they will apparently use subtitles just like in Narcos to show what characters are saying, and it takes a lot of inspiration from the events of real world America in the 70s and 80s and puts them into the game's theme. This is a mouthful, and some of the parts aren't too adventurous, but a lot of the parts seem really unrealistic to implement into a game, and they seem far too blown out of proportion. Although some of it is a little far-fetched, like it being 10 times the scale of GTA Online, but it does sound like a great game concept that I'd be willing to play for sure, although it does seem a little bit too exaggerated for it to become true. Another leak coming from GTA forums outlined a completely different setting. You'll see a pattern with a lot of these leaks and theories being of a very similar theme. They include a story heavily based on smuggling products across the city, and they have a story centered around or influenced in some way by some kind of cartel in the game. This leak shows a series of rumored locations for a setting, claiming parts of the game will take place in the different cities of the GTA franchise, from Vice City to Liberty City all the way down to Los Santos. It claims it will feature a limited Liberty City, most likely a small scene piece or area like some of the other games do in their cutscenes, and that Vice City will be its main setting sometime during the 1980s. Then players can head to GTA's version of Rio de Janeiro, which is called Rio de Neve. Other areas include the Republic of Castellano, People's Republic of Del Castro, Central America, which is based around Panama and Cuba, Mexico, and some other minor cities. This seems like the ultimate stretch if I'm honest, and most likely the real cities mentioned will receive fictional names if it's even true, but I'd say it's too adventurous to have this many locations in the game. Although the theme of South America and an 80s style smuggling narrative narrative is something that's coming up a lot in all of these rumours and leaks, so this could hold some kind of truth to it. The fourth big rumour is a setting in Japan or Tokyo. It's clear from a lot of sources that it's a possibility that at one point Rockstar were possibly thinking of setting the game in Tokyo or just Asia in general. Whether that was recent or years in the past, we don't know. Asia has a big influence in our current culture, and Japan is a huge city with a lot happening, and there's strong history, and Asia in general is also rich in landscape and is pretty interesting. Back in 2016, Tech Radar issued an article that claimed Rockstar had considered setting the franchise in Tokyo at some point, stating they scouted the city to take pictures, talk to locals and feel out the area with production in mind, but later decided against it for a setting, especially due to its road system being too problematic to recreate in a game. So for those rumours of it being set in Japan or Tokyo, this may dispel them, but it may also show that they might be trying again to put that as the next setting for the game. Next up is another leak based on a completely different location. How can I make a GTA 6 leaks and rumours video without covering the possibility of a GTA London? Fans of GTA will know that we've already had London featured in one of the older top-down GTA games, one that I personally didn't play, but fans have wanted a revisit to London in GTA but with a modern touch. I'm from the UK and London is a great place, so I'd definitely be okay with this, but I do far much prefer an American or foreign setting for a GTA game personally, just because it feels like you can visit places based off real world ones that you cannot or may not have the chance to go to. I think the feel would be very different in a GTA London game, as the culture is a lot different to America. There was even a fan-made concept of what a GTA London loading screen would look like, as well as some in-game footage. A lot of people have heard of rumours of a GTA 6 London game, but it's hard to find a lot of the sources of these. Some people say it will be set in a 1960s London, in the so-called swinging 60s era where art, music and fashion flourished and progression from the gritty war era transitioned into post-war bright themes in the cities. This is perhaps fueled by the original 90s GTA game Grand Theft Auto London 1969, which was set in the later 60s in a top-down view style. There is actually mods out there for some of the older GTA games though, where you can visit or play in London. There is a popular one for GTA 5, although a different popular one for GTA 3 is out there where you can actually play in a reimagined 3D GTA London, but this one is based off the GTA London 1969 game, so the textures are a little bit more simplistic because it's just a 3D recreation of the old 2D game. One little sixth rumour is GTA 6 Chicago. Chicago is the largest state in Illinois and would be perfect for a GTA setting. It's a city we haven't seen before in the game, and it would be a great place to drive fast cars and explore, especially for those of us who are non-Americans. This one is a little rumour with a lot of speculation, but some claim that modern day Chicago could be the setting for the next game, although there aren't many leaks around this or any evidence for it to be so. Back in a 2012 interview, Leslie Benzies, who's a Scottish producer and former president of Rockstar North, said that they wanted to make a game with multiple locations where players could fly between the cities to offer a huge sandbox playground. This is something that's featured in a lot of the different rumours I covered in this video, so this could give it some substance as it's something they've been dreaming of realising for a long time. Personally, I think some of these rumours are a little wild and we can't believe everything we hear, but each and every one would be interesting as a concept, and they all have unique features which we haven't seen before that would make good games. I think a new GTA game with multiple cities would be really amazing. I've always wanted a modern San Andreas remaster with current day graphics and visuals, or just a game that has a map as huge as that, but with a current tech and just a whole new story. If Rockstar achieve this with GTA 6 and give us something huge and magnificent, then they're going to hit it out of the park. Let me know in the comments below which of these leaks and theories are your favourite, and which ones that you think will actually be GTA 6. If you have any other theories or if you've seen any other leaks that I didn't cover, let me know about them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and check out the other videos on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.